Conservative new media viewers and JLin fans around the world, what's up? We are here to go over Houston's beatdown of the visiting Dallas Mavericks tonight in game number 61 of the 2012-2013 regular season. Now, before I get started, I want to let you guys know I do have answers to all of the comments from the Game 59 and Game 60 videos at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that at the end of the video. Woo-hoo-hoo! Woo! Woo! Look, this was a huge win. Dallas had won 9 straight games against Houston. So there was that aspect of the thing. Second, this was a blowout, 136-103. Houston is now 33-28 on the year. They've won 2 straight games, and they're tied in the standings with the Utah Jazz for the 7th playoff seed in the West. This was huge. What happened in this game was in the third quarter, Houston outscored Dallas by 27 points. And that was it. I mean, that's basically what occurred in this game. It was relatively close at the half. It was a 3-point game. Houston was losing this game in the second quarter. They were down and kind of consistently down. And the person that turned things around was JLin. Jeremy was huge in the second quarter. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. And he was also big in the third quarter. So all of the angst and anxiety and anger and everything about the game in Orlando, that's all gone. And that's why it's important. You can't get too up or too down with every single game. I know I do sometimes, like when I wanted to punch a hole through my television after the Washington game. But in general, you can't get like that because there's always a next game. And Jeremy did great in this game. He was awesome. We also had some Parsons sanity in this game. That's right, Chandler Bieber Parsons dominated in this game with 32 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, and he only missed 1 shot. He was 12 out of 13 from the field, which is phenomenal. Beard was good in this game. He really came on in the second half. He finished with 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. Finally, the new guys played well. You got to see, and they got to play a lot because this was a blowout. You got to see what Thomas Robinson and Francisco Garcia can do, and they both played well in this game, and that was good. We also got to see the new center, Tim Albrecht, so that's cool. Okay, let's turn to Jeremy. Now, I'm imagining that you guys are feeling a lot better about this performance than the last performance against Orlando and my assessment of that performance against Orlando. This was the first Linsanity 2.0 game that we've had in almost 3 weeks now. The last time we had a bona fide Linsanity 2.0 game was against Oklahoma City when Houston made that big comeback and won the game. So this was great. I thought Jeremy was the best player on the court, including Chandler, because a lot of the baskets that Chandler scored was because Jeremy was giving him passes for easy hoops. So I'm certainly not putting down Chandler at all, but Jeremy was the key to this game. He really was, and he played great. He finished with 21 points, no rebounds, 9 assists, 25 minutes played. He shot 8 of 14 from the field, 1 of 4 from three-point range, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, 1 steal, no blocks, 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. His plus-minus was plus 26, and his efficiency number was 22, which is very good, especially in 25 minutes. The more you play, the higher your efficiency number tends to go. And remember, efficiency, the higher the number, the better. So to be able to get 22 efficiency in 25 minutes is really good. Really, really good. I mean, that equates to 40 or 43 or something in 48 minutes, which is ridiculous. Okay, quarter by quarter. Early in the first, Jeremy had a really good move where he got double teamed on the pick and roll, and he went right through the double team. He literally dribbled right in the middle of it, right down the lane, but he got blocked at the rim by Chris Kaman, who is decent shot blocker. He's just tall more than anything else. He's a 7-footer, and it was a great play by Jeremy, and he made the right decision. He just ended up getting blocked at the last second. Jeremy missed an off-the-dribble jump shot from about 70 degrees from the left early in the first. Soon after that, Demo did that same up and under move I told you guys about that is so good, and he got called for a travel on it, and I didn't really see that. It looked like an excellent move, but whatever, they called him for a travel, I believe, on the move. Also, early in the first, Jeremy had a nice cut. He cut to the basket from like the top of the free throw line. And I don't know who passed him the ball. It was either Chandler or Demo. And it was just an easy layup. And when we talk about playing on the ball and off the ball. Now, on the ball means you're dribbling the ball. And if you're playing defense on the ball, you're defending the man dribbling the basketball. Jeremy is best as an on-ball player. He's best when he's dribbling. What he needs to improve is to play off the ball more. And making cuts like the one he did there, that's how you play off the ball well. Find spots, find where you can cut and get open and this type of thing. Run off of screens. Guys that play really well off the ball are Ray Allen, the great shooter from Miami. He just runs off of screens. He'll run until he gets open. And he ends up with the ball in his hands taking good three-point shots. Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, as I've mentioned many times before, had trouble when they first started playing together. Why? Because they were both on-ball players. And so it didn't work at first. But now what you see is it works much better because they've both become better playing off the ball. And that's what Jeremy needs to do, and that's what James Harden needs to do, and they're starting to do it. And that cut by Jeremy is a good example of how he's doing it. Also, early in the first, Demo had another really, really nice post-up move. He did a ball fake, and then he did a hook shot. The fake that he did is he put the ball out to his left side with the ball in his hand, and it's an excellent fake. You see a lot of really good players that will use that fake in the low post. What it does is you're showing the ball to the defender, and he gets fixed. His eyes will move to that, and then you go up for a hook shot or something, and they're still looking at the ball. They're not reacting. It gets the defender off balance, and he actually scored a basket on that play, but it was a turnover. I don't know if he fouled or traveled or whatever, but I tell you, his moves, as I've said, his moves in the post are tremendous, particularly for somebody as young as him, and particularly for somebody that is such a good outside shooter as he is. This guy has a lot of offensive skill. He needs a lot of work on defense, a lot of work. Probably needs a little work on some conditioning, but his offensive game is so good. It's just incredible to me. I played a lot of the time when I played, even though I'm like 6'1", so I mean, I can't play low post and anything at an adult level, but I played low post a lot when I played, and so I really appreciate low post skill when I see it. And Demo has a tremendous amount of ability on offense as a pivot back to the basket type of player. Okay, middle of the first, Jeremy had a nice pass to Chandler for a right 80 degrees, almost in the corner, right side, three-point shot. Dallas was winning this game midway through the first. They were up 16-12, and Houston's defense still wasn't what you wanted to see. And as we've seen the last three games against Washington, Milwaukee, and Orlando, Dallas had a good offensive rhythm. And Houston needs to continue to work on their defense. Look, there's only 2 months left in this regular season, so Houston's defense isn't going to get markedly better They just need to play with intensity. And they did do that pretty well in this game at times. And then times they didn't. That's the sign of a young team. Up and down, inconsistent. And it's something that as they improve and as they go forward as a team, they're going to need to focus more on defense. And they know that. I know the coaching staff knows that. And it's just something to look forward to in the future because, again, if you don't play defense well, then it's all about you must outscore the opponent. And that doesn't always work. It worked tonight, but it doesn't always work. And it's better if you can also rely on your defense. What you see from the elite teams is they can do both things. San Antonio, the Clippers, Oklahoma City, Miami, all of them can play excellent defense when they need to, even though they're all good offensive teams. And that's successful basketball at the professional level. Okay, Jeremy, middle of the first, nice pass to Demo for a layup. Also in the middle of the first, Jeremy had a nice pass to Demo for a three-point shot from about 40 degrees to the left of the top of the arc, Middle of the first as well. Jeremy drove to the hoop from coming in on the left-handed side, about 45 degrees cut. He missed, but he got fouled, and we've talked about it. It's important for him to draw fouls. He did it there. He made 1 out of 2 free throws. That was with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Soon after that, Jeremy again drove to the left side of the rim. Very nice hard drive. The shot was blocked, but it was a goaltend, which in that circumstance, you can't touch the ball as a defender after it hits the backboard. You can't touch it on offense either. If you do touch it, then that's an automatic score. That's a goaltending call. Goaltendings are if when a person shoots a shot like a layup, you cannot touch it when it is coming down from the top of its arc. So once you shoot it and it's going up, once it begins its downward trajectory, you can't touch it. As I mentioned, another goaltending is you can't touch the ball once it hits the backboard. And finally, and this is only in the NBA, this is not true in international basketball. And I've mentioned this before in an earlier video. You can get you can get goaltending on either side. If there's imagine an invisible cylinder rising up from the rim. If the ball is in that cylinder, you can't touch it because the thinking is it might hit the rim, it might go back in, it might bounce around and go in, so you can't touch it then. So those are the 3 instances where you will get goaltending. Can't touch it on the way down when the shot's on the way down. Can't touch it once it hits the backboard. You can't touch it when it's in the cylinder. As I mentioned, in international basketball, you can touch the ball when it's in the cylinder. That's a live ball. So it takes sometimes international players a little bit of getting used to that. And when Team USA plays in the Olympics, they got to get used to that because that's a different rule in international competition. Let's see here. Sorry, I just lost my place in my notes. Okay, late in the first, Jeremy went to the hoop, and we saw this move the other day in one of the other games. He drove to the hoop, and he stopped. Now, a lot of times we'll see him, he'll stop, and then he'll do that pivot move where he kind of turns around and spins. This time, and he did this the other day. You stop, he just fakes, he stops, and the defender keeps going. And then you put a little ball fake, pretend like you're going to shoot. The guy sometimes will go for the fake, or he'll still be moving, and you stop, and then you just get an easy little layup. And he did that. He did the fake, and he got fouled on it. It was a great play. As I said, if you're a relatively short guard, you need to have those type of plays. And if you're going to score in the paint against big people. And that's what Jeremy's learning. He's getting better and better at this. And you can see it. He's adding moves to his arsenal of moves. He's getting more moves. And that's great. And you can definitely see the improvement. And he made the free throw. That came with 3 minutes and 32 seconds left in the first quarter. Also late in the first, Jeremy had a nice long bounce pass to Chandler for a layup in transition. That came with 2 minutes and 42 seconds left in the first. Jeremy had a good groove going then. He was in a good groove. He did come out at that time for Patrick Beverley. We know that this is what Coach McHale likes to do. He'll take Jeremy out sometime with usually like 4 to 2 minutes or so left in the first quarter. That's just what he does. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at my notes really quickly. Okay, right after that, Thomas Robinson had a really nice play. He ran hard in transition and had a huge dunk. I can't remember who passed the ball to him, but as I said, Thomas Robinson is an athlete. He's a guy that can jump high and he can get up and down the floor. And you saw it on that play. And I was thinking about this more. People have said, well, we got rid of Patrick Patterson and Marcus Morris. And I said, look, Thomas Robinson's better than them, but he's not a better shooter than them. Both of those guys are three-point shooters. Thomas Robinson is not a three-point shooter. So that changes the offense, right? Because Houston this year is 4 guys on the perimeter and a guy in the middle. Well, if you have Thomas Robinson in, you can't really do that unless he's the guy in the middle. And I think he was playing some center in this game probably because they need him to play that, or else he can't play in this offense, really. Or you've got to change what the spacing is on offense. So he is not as good at that as Patrick and Marcus. And he doesn't have the chemistry yet. So there is an adjustment period. I know if you guys read Clutch fans or you follow the Rockets news, you heard McHale say recently, I know someone asked him, hey, are the trades going to work now or this year? And he's like, oh, you have to ask Daryl Morey about that. Or it's like, yeah, I know guys aren't going to have the chemistry and they're not going to have the offensive spacing. Thomas Robinson isn't, but, Daryl Morey makes a general manager and moves, and I coach the guys. And that's the way it goes, right? I mean, Kevin McHale's put in a kind of a tough spot because he wants to make the playoffs, but Daryl Morey's got a long-range plan, and so everybody's just got to adjust to it, and that's the way it is. Now, Chandler Bieber had a great follow-up dunk off of a James Harden miss late in the first quarter. And I'm only calling him Bieber because I like him. I'm not calling him that to diss him. He's funny, and a lot of people think he looks like Bieber. Same way I call James Harden Beard. That was a phenomenal play. I mean, when Chandler's at his best, this is what it looks like. Now, some people aren't really high on Chandler. Sometimes he's not really great at anything, but he's athletic. And when he's in motion and transition, he can do a lot of damage. And he did that tonight, and he hit 3-pointers. So he's definitely got a lot of potential and a lot of skill, and he's a young player. Okay, Jeremy started the second quarter on the bench. Again, normal rotation, pretty much. Francisco Garcia came in the game. In fact, at this point in the game, it was Carlos Delfino and bench guys and new guys. So I think it was Beverly, Delfino, Garcia, Thomas Robinson, and I can't remember who the other guy was. I don't remember right now. Maybe Demo. It might have been Demo. And this was good. This was Kevin McHale experimenting with new guys / bench guys, including Demo. And it worked pretty well. It worked. They were still behind. As I said, Houston was down about midway through the second quarter, but it worked okay. And that's just, like I said, if you're a coach and you have new guys, we got to try to do stuff with them. And that was basically McHale giving it a shot. Okay, let's let these guys get some playing time and see what works. Let's see if this little new bench and plus bench lineup works. And it worked out okay. Francisco Garcia hit a couple of three-pointers in that stretch, and he looked great. So I liked it. That lineup worked out all right. Jeremy came back into the game with 8 minutes and 23 seconds left in the second quarter. At that point, Dallas was up by 45-39, so they were up by 6 points. And soon after that, they went up by 9 points. And it was 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter. Houston took a timeout. They were a little bit out of sorts. But then after that, Jeremy started to take over. And he did a really, really good job to just kind of put the team on his back and say, no. And that's what Jeremy's about, as we know. Okay, so middle of the second, Jeremy hit an 8-foot jump shot. I actually missed it because the feed I was watching didn't show it. They were showing it was a Dallas feed. And they were showing some quote from Dirk Nowitzki to Tim Olbrecht because they're both German. So they were showing some quote, and they just didn't show Jeremy's shot. I had to look it up, and it said it was an 8-foot jump shot. So did that. Soon after that, Jeremy had an excellent post pass. Post pass is when you're throwing it to the guy that's playing post-up offense. Post entry or post pass, whatever they'll call it, to Demo for a layup. What Demo did on the play is what's known as sealing off your man, sealing like a seal on a milk gallon. There's a seal and you pull off the seal. That's really important. That's another skill for a post-up guy. If you seal off your man, then you have a direct lane to the basket. And so what Demo did was he was about 3 feet from the basket. He had sealed off his man completely in front of him, and Jeremy threw the ball over the top right to Demo. It was a great pass and a great play by Demo, and you get a layup. On defense, you're always taught to stay between your man and the basket. So what happens sometimes on defense, particularly when a smaller man is playing a bigger man in the post, the smaller man he'll front the offensive player. It's called fronting. And that means you play in front of the guy, and the whole goal is to deny him a pass so he can't score. So it's like you're basically saying, I can't stop the guy if I play behind him. If he gets the ball, I'm not going to stop him. So I'm going to stay in front of him and try to stop him from getting the ball. So if you're the offensive player and a guy is fronting you, like what happened with Demo there, your job is to seal him off. And that's exactly what Demo did, and he did it well. Jeremy saw it. Jeremy got on the ball. Boom. Easy layup. Okay, also, soon after that, Jeremy had a nice catch-and-shoot three-pointer from 35 degrees right of the top of the arc. That was a nice pass from James Harden, and Jeremy was rolling now. He was good in the first quarter, and he was good in the second quarter. It's a lot like we saw in the Orlando game. He was rolling. He was rolling even more in this game, though. Excuse me. Soon after that, Jeremy hit an off-the-dribble jumper from the right side of the free throw line extended. Free throw line extended just means if you kept drawing the free throw line out onto the side. So he wasn't actually at the free throw line, but he was about at level with the free throw line if you extended it out a little bit to the right. Jeremy was grooving at this point. He was rolling, and he was leading a comeback here. As I said, he was taking charge of this game. And look, like I said, Beard, those guys are unselfish. Beard saw that Jeremy was rolling, so he was getting him the ball, and that was good. This is an unselfish team, very unselfish. Harden does a lot of what he does because that's what he's supposed to do, and that's what the coaches tell him to do. hey, you're the best guy. You can score in isolation, so do it. But when guys see that other guys are rolling, they'll get on the ball. And so I give credit to James Harden. He knew Jeremy was in a little bit of a groove, and he made sure he was getting the ball. Middle of the second as well, Jeremy had a nice steal against Dallas. He passed the ball ahead to James Harden, who was fouled going for a layup. And as I said, Jeremy was just in a groove. This was a Linsanity groove. When you see it, he just starts taking over the game, both scoring and passing. Remember, you can dominate a game passing the ball. Magic Johnson always used to do it. So you can do that, and that's what Jeremy was doing, and that's what he does a lot. As I said, it's not always going to be Linsanity 1.0 with 30 points. Sometimes it's going to be 12 assists and 10 points, and that's fine. You can dominate and control a game that way, and Jeremy was doing it both ways here. So the middle of the second quarter with 4.5 minutes left, Jeremy already had 15 points and 5 assists, and he was 6 of 8 from the field. He was rolling, and now Houston was only down 2 points, whereas again they were at 9 points down, with 2 minutes earlier in the game. So at 6:30 left in the second, they were down 9, and now with 4:30 left in the second, they were down 2, and all of that was because of Jeremy. So he led the comeback. It was great. Soon after that, Jeremy hit a nice pass to Chandler Parsons for a streaking layup. That made it 54-54. Dallas took a timeout. 3 minutes and 49 seconds left, and Jeremy was totally dominating the game at this point. Just complete domination. I'm sure if you see the highlight guys, Byland and I can't remember the other guy's name. Those guys do a great job. You'll see this. You'll see a whole bunch of plays from the middle of the second quarter that Jeremy did. He was dominating. And, middle of the second, after the timeout, Jeremy got a nice rebound, and he got hit, but he really sold the foul. To sell a foul means you exaggerate the foul. Like a guy hits you and you go, oh, you fall down or whatever. Jeremy sold the foul well, and that's good. As I told you, you need to do that in the NBA because the referee is only human, so they're going to react to stuff. So if you're falling down and stuff, well, they're probably going to call a foul. And that's why guys do it. And that's also why the NBA made the flopping rule that they started this year, because some guys take it too far and they don't want that. But Jeremy didn't flop. He just exaggerated the foul. A flop is when a guy doesn't even hit you, or it can be that you sell it too hard, but a lot of times it's like, you pretend a guy elbowed you, but he didn't even touch you. That's a flop. And that's why they put the rule in this year. Okay, look, and I made notes here. Actually, I take that back. That rebound was before the layup to Chandler and the Dallas timeout, but I forgot to mention it. It was a terrific play. I made a couple of notes here because I know people were mad at me after the Orlando game. Yeah, I started the game and I'm clapping, and you guys think I'm dissing Jeremy, which I'm one of the biggest Jeremy Lin fans you'll find, and one of his biggest defenders, but I'm also a realist. I'm honest about it. And I thought Patrick Beverley was absolutely critical in the Orlando win. But one of the reasons why I was happy because of the Orlando game, and I knew this would happen, Jeremy is competitive, right? That's one of the reasons why he's made it this far. I knew that Beverley getting all the play in the fourth quarter and getting all the celebration accolades was going to fire Jeremy up, and that's exactly what it did. Jeremy, it's like Michael Jordan or Kobe. These guys, they love it when people say stuff about them and doubt them because then they play better. Jeremy's like that. And I know people, Jeremy, it's going to be okay. Jeremy's tough, man. Now, again, I'm not saying Jeremy lives for people doubting him and lives for haters. Nobody does. But he's tough. He likes when he knows people are going to mess with him and try to shut him down. You're a flake. You're a fraud. He knows that. He's had to deal with that since high school. Why do you think the guy got no scholarships? I don't care what anybody says. Oh, guy that's like in the hunt for the player of the year in California, you get no scholarships? Give me a break. He's used to that. And guys that are really competitive, and everybody that makes the NBA, except for there are a few guys who are just physical freaks, who just, they're tall, they're big and athletic, and they don't even like playing, but they're so physically talented that they make it there. That, I would say that's a very small percentage, but it does happen. For 95% of the guys, it's not like that. And the only guys that make it to the top level of professional athletics or amateur athletics that aren't professional, like, I don't know, wrestling or something, they're extremely competitive. They're super competitive. Look, like John, JDV. John's got 4 powerlifting championships. John's incredibly competitive, annoyingly competitive. And you know this. You know what I'm talking about if you know people like this. They have to win at everything. If you're playing a game of cards, got to win. If you're playing a little pop-a shot at the arcade where you shoot the baskets, got to win that. That's how John is. And I can tell you as his brother, it's damn annoying. And I'm competitive, but not as competitive as John is. Just because that's not my nature. Although I'll beat you when I'm on the court. But John's got to beat you at everything. Most of the guys in the NBA, they're like that. Jordan was like that. Anything you do with him, he's got to beat you at it. I mean, I was reading this thing about Rajon Rondo, right, from the Celtics, who's very competitive. Rajon Rondo loves the game Connect 4, right? That little game you drop the disc in and, it's like tic-tac-toe. He hates, and he's beaten like, he'll play it like at charity things, like he'll play against kids, and he's never lost, right? Until this one kid beat him recently. and then, Rondo freaked out, and he rematched the guy 5 times and beat him all 5 times. And then there was a quote by Rondo saying, yeah, that kid beat me. And then I had to let him know that, if you beat me, I'm going to beat the heck out of you. That's the way a lot of these guys are. I'm not saying Jeremy's competitive to the extent that Rondo is and Jordan is, but he's very competitive. And that's why he's gotten to where he is. And what that means is, if you challenge somebody that's really competitive that way, they're not going to fold up and walk home and, Clutch fans said I can't play. They're going to be like, yeah, you think I can't play? Yeah, watch this. That's the way Jeremy is. And that's why, part of the reason why I was happy. If you go back and you listen to what I said in that video, in the Orlando video, part of what I said is, I'm happy because Jeremy is going to have to play better defense now, or else Patrick Beverley's going to take his minutes. You know what? Jeremy doesn't want Patrick Beverley to take his minutes, and that means Jeremy's going to play better. That's why I was happy. I'm not happy because Jeremy got dissed. That's garbage, Clutch fan, Lin only hater junk. I'm super Lin fan. I don't want Jeremy to get dissed unless it helps him in the long run. Having somebody behind you that pushes you is going to help you in the long run. I've seen it. You see it in the National Football League, American football. One quarterback behind another quarterback. Hey, the starter might lose his job. Well, guess what? The starter's going to play better because he has to. That's what I was saying about Jeremy. Because that's how athletes think. And that's how Jeremy thinks. Look, there are guys that can't handle that. But they don't do Linsanity. And they don't make it where Jeremy's made it. And as I said, Jeremy's not just talented and not accomplished only as an athlete. Jeremy's accomplished as a student. We all know how difficult it is to get in Harvard. Very difficult. Look, I went to a great school. I didn't apply to Harvard. Why? Because I wasn't going to get in. Well, Jeremy got in, and he did great. If you do that, Jeremy's used to competition. And I know a lot of you guys that are from Asian culture. I know this, a lot of my friends, a lot of the countries, China and different countries, they have those difficult national service examinations. Where it's like if you want to get a job with the government, whatever, it's so competitive and it's hard, and people study for years. I remember friends of mine when I was in college that were from different countries over in Asia, and they tell me about this. And I was like, man, that's so competitive. And it is. Now, Jeremy's of Asian descent, but he doesn't live in Asia, so he's not trying to do that, right? But as we all know, and I'm not saying this is not stereotyping or anything, many people that come from Asian cultures and are Asian descent take academics very seriously. I can tell you right now, one of the things I knew, I studied a lot in college. I had to. I just had to work harder than some other people just because of some issues that I was dealing with at that time. One thing that I knew, and everybody knew it on campus, and Cornell's a big campus. I don't know, whatever it is, 20, 30,000 people. If you went to the library on the weekend, on Saturday night or Friday night, you're going to find a lot of people there. You would find a whole group of Asian students studying. And I'm not dissing that. That's good. People respected that. And I respected that. And so I always knew that if I was going on a weekend to study, I wouldn't be the only one. And so Jeremy comes from that. He comes from that mentality. And that's awesome. And that's what I said is he's used to competition on the court and off the court. And he's already shown he can handle it. That's why I was okay pushing on him a little bit, because he's going to come back stronger. He's going to come back stronger. And that's exactly what he did in this game. And I'm not surprised at all. And I said, Jeremy, he's not going to roll up in a ball and cry and go read everybody dissing him. He's going to go do something about it. And that's what he did. And that was great, man. Okay, late in the second quarter, picking back up with the game, Jeremy, we've seen this before, and this was a negative. He lost his man on defense because he was helping out. He was chasing the ball a little bit. His man was Mike James, the backup point guard, and Mike James got a wide open three, and he hit it. So, look, nobody's perfect, but it's something Jeremy has to continue to work on. You don't want to leave guys. If you're going to go help down on a man, don't leave a guy that can shoot. Mike James he's not a great shooter, but you don't want to leave him wide open either. Okay, late in the second as well, Jeremy had a nice steal and a dish to Chandler for a dunk. That came with, I think, 38 seconds left in the half, and it put Houston up 62-59. Also late in the second, Jeremy had a great drive starting from the right-hand corner. He went right to the lane, going right to left, very hard. He went up hard, and he got fouled again, and he made both free throws at that time. As we said, Jeremy needs to draw more fouls, and he's starting to do that. As I mentioned before, I believe Jeremy averaged around 5 free throw attempts per game during Linsanity 1.0. Well, I think he shot 5 in this game. Good. That's going to help him get his scoring up, and he's clearly getting better at drawing fouls without taking big punishment. Okay, Jeremy started the third quarter, and he had a nice half-court pass to Chandler Parsons for a layup, another one of Jeremy's patented half-court passes. I actually saw somebody on Clutch Fans like a week ago, and they said something like, oh, Jeremy, those low percentage half-court passes. Are you crazy? he probably converts 75, 80% of those. I mean, those are almost never turnovers. And that's one of the best plays that Houston has in their offense. If Jeremy's throwing a long pass, it's probably going to end up in a score. So I love seeing that. Also, early in the third, J-Lin had a nice layup in transition, went right down the middle of the lane, got a nice little layup, and he was fouled on that play, and they didn't call it. But he clearly got fouled on that play, and I think he mentioned to the ref, yeah, I got fouled. That came with 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. Also earlier in the third, Jeremy had a nice dish to James Harden for a three-point shot from about 25 degrees right of the top of the arc. Jeremy missed. He had a nice little, it was like, I talk all the time about perimeter moves. Jeremy needs perimeter moves, making a move on your man so you can get open for a shot. We had one of those from almost in the corner of the right side in the middle of the third period. It was a little fake step towards you and then kind of a fall away shot. It was a good move. He just missed the shot. It wasn't a great shot, but it wasn't a bad shot either. Jeremy was trying out a move there, and he didn't complete the play. Excuse me. Now, I've mentioned before about hesitation moves or hesitation dribble. Jeremy had a great play based on that concept with 6 minutes and 7 seconds left. He came down the right-hand side of the lane. I think it was in transition, but I can't remember. But there was a defender back in front of him, whether it was in transition or not. He came down the right-hand side of the lane. He stopped the dribble. And again, a lot of times he'll stop his dribble and do the little pivot move, step back, and the guy keeps going with his momentum, goes away from you, and you step away. But what it's difficult to explain. It's something you have to see to understand it. He stopped his dribble. The guy kept going, and it's like Jeremy froze for a second. It's like the defender didn't know what he was going to do. There was a hesitation in his movement, and it confused the defender. And then Jeremy stepped back slightly or leaned back and hit a nice little bank shot off the rim. It was a sweet move. That was a great move. And that's just the kind of move that he needs to have to beat guys one-on-one once he gets to the lane. There wasn't a second defender on him. He wasn't close enough. It wasn't a layup. It was maybe a 6-foot shot. So you're probably not going to get a center on you on that shot. So if you beat your man, you're going to get an easy shot. And that's exactly what he did. And with a really nice move. That was a terrific move. Again, that was with 6 minutes and 7 seconds left. And then with 5 minutes and 7 seconds left in the third, Houston was up 88-67. They were up by 21 points. Then Patrick Beverley came in for Jeremy, and that was the last that Jeremy played in this game because it was a blowout. But later on in the game, Thomas Robinson, late in the third, had a great steal that ended up in a Patrick Beverley layup. Also, I was impressed with Thomas Robinson, had a really nice play on pick-and-roll defense. It's not easy for big men to play pick-and-roll defense. And the reason what happens with that, when somebody talks about a big man's pick-and-roll defense, what they mean is how do they deal with it when they have to guard the little guy? Meaning when they get switched, you set a pick and roll, and so a lot of times teams will switch that. So little guy has to guard big guy has to guard little guy. Robinson had a really nice play there. He was matched up with the little guy, and he did a really good job against it. And I've heard mixed things about his pick and roll defense, but he looked great there, and he looked good on the same type of play earlier in the game. For example, Shaq is not a good pick-and-roll defender when he played. He's not. You can beat him. Somebody like Dwight Howard is a very good pick-and-roll defender. Much harder to beat him if you're a little guy. Patrick Beverley had a number of offensive rebounds in this game, and he's just great at that. Now, Jeremy used to do tons of rebounding, but he's gotten away from that now. I think he's more aware of preventing fast breaks for the other team. He's getting back instead of focusing on rebounding, which is good. That's fine. Patrick Beverley is focusing a lot on rebounding, and he's good at it. And so that's definitely an asset. Finally, in the quarter by quarter, in the middle of the fourth quarter, Tim Albrecht got his first playing time with the Rockets. He is the center. Look, as I mentioned, Jeremy played phenomenal in this game. He couldn't have played any better than he did, realistically. And this is what it is, right? This is the evolution of a young player. Up, down, and a coach that's learning how to play with his talent. This is what you're going to get. Now tonight, the haters crawl back in the darkness and crawl back under the rock and go and hide. There's no more Jeremy Lin's a joke threads and all this type of stuff, right? But they'll be back. They'll be back. The next time Jeremy has a game like last game or gets pulled out, or they'll be right back out. Don't worry about it. So I'm saying to you guys, don't worry about it. Jeremy is not getting traded. He's not going anywhere. Jeremy is a very talented young point guard. And there aren't that many of them around. There's some, but not that many. And I can tell you this, none of them have the marketability Jeremy does. Jeremy isn't going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. The only place Jeremy's going is to the bank to get some more money out, because that's what he's going to make himself and a whole bunch of other people. Volvo and all. That's just the beginning, believe me. So Jeremy isn't going anywhere. That's what I said. Don't overreact to stuff. Don't overreact to stuff. Again, this was a huge victory. The new guys and the bench guys got to play a lot because it was a blowout, which is great. And guys like Jeremy got rest. Again, Jeremy is dealing with a bad ankle right now. And I know James Harden's dealing with a bad knee. Those guys need rest. And tonight they got it, even though Jeremy put up big numbers. It's good. And finally, Houston is tied with Utah for the 7th seed in the playoffs. That's big. That is great. And that's it. Okay, it's now 10:51 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States on Sunday, March 3rd, 2013, which means it is 11:51 a.m. Monday, March 4th in Taipei, Taiwan. All right, now let's answer some comments and questions from the Game 59 and Game 60 videos. And like I said, I know people were mad at me in the Game 60 Orlando video, and we'll get to that now. Well, I'll deal with that. Okay, here's stuff from Game 59 video. APC Game 24. Yeah, Houston might have a better chance against the Spurs than they would the Thunder in the playoffs, especially if Tony Parker's still hurting. I mean, Tony Parker, unfortunately for him, just turned his ankle pretty badly, and he's going to miss 4 weeks. That's why it's important to get guys rest. You don't want that to happen. Later in the season, guys' legs are more tired. That's when you start getting injuries more. So if you can get a game like tonight for Houston, rest your guys. Matchups will be, there are better and worse matchups for Houston, but right now, just make the playoffs. The Lakers are coming. The Lakers look like they're going to get a spot, which means that Houston needs to beat out Utah. So we can't think about matchups until we make the playoffs. Dyson from Australia. Yeah, in the Milwaukee game, Houston did okay in rebounds. You're right. Thomas Robinson didn't do that well in that game. He is an excellent rebounder, though, as you saw tonight. He had like 8 rebounds in 20 minutes. He can rebound. He just needs some more time with the team and just in the league. He's a rookie. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's got a lot to learn, and now he's playing with the second team in his first year. But he's got ability, particularly as a rebounder. That's the one area of his game that pretty much everybody knows he's going to be able to do in the NBA. They're not sure about the rest of his game, but everybody knows he's going to be able to rebound. So we'll see that. Nahia Vu, I agree. You're right. Houston does need time to adjust to the new guys on the team. And yeah, fortunately, Houston was able to beat Orlando, and that's the most important thing. Jose, 3354. Yeah, cool. I know JDV got to do a video tonight on this game, so that's awesome. I was thinking about you when he was able to cut that, so that's sweet. You're right. It does take time for the new guys to get used to the team. What's good is tonight, after tonight's game, they got 2 days of rest, 2 days of practice, Monday and Tuesday. They don't play again until Wednesday, which is against the Mavericks in Dallas. Beverly was huge in the Orlando win. And as I said, believe me, he is better than Tony Douglas. I'm not saying he's a better guy than Tony Douglas, but he's a better basketball player than Tony Douglas. And he's shown that, I think. 4-star KT from the United Kingdom. As somebody else pointed out, I think it was Skeletor, Harden wasn't yelling at Jeremy. What he was yelling about, and this is the Milwaukee game, on the sidelines after Jeremy cut his lip. What he was mad about was that the referee didn't call a foul on the play that Jeremy got hit on. In other words, here you got a guy bleeding, and the referee didn't even call a foul on that play. So it's like ridiculous. That's what Harden was mad about. That's what Harden was mad about, and he should have been mad. In other words, he was sticking up for Jeremy. He wasn't mad at Jeremy. He was like, man, you got fouled. What the heck? So, Dyson, you're right. Harden is the guy on this team, and he is going to get more leeway from the coaches because of that. So, if Jeremy and James Harden both have 5 turnovers, well, the guy that's going to get benched first because of that is going to be Jeremy. Now, is that always going to be the case? I don't know. But you have to remember, James Harden, just being very honest and realistic, James Harden right now is probably a top 10 player in the NBA. He's number 4 scorer. His efficiency rating, his player efficiency rating, PER, is top 10 or top 12. Jeremy's not at that level yet. And look, as I've said a million times, I believe Jeremy can be a star. No doubt. But he's not there yet. And so, look, if you had 2 computers, right, and one never breaks down, it never does anything or whatever, it's good 98% of the time, and you have another computer that's not quite as good and it breaks down 40% of the time, which computer are you going to trust? That's the way that the coaches look at Harden versus Lin. It's not because they don't like Lin, it's because they trust Harden more, because Harden is proven. He went to the finals last year. He's put up big numbers before. He's been through it. Jeremy hasn't been through it yet, even though Jeremy went through Linsanity 1.0. But this is a totally different situation. But that's going to change. Jeremy's earning respect this year, and that's going to carry over into the next year and with the coaching staff. So he can get to where Harden is or close to it, but he's not there yet. And that's where the coaches are coming from. And sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes it doesn't work. But that's, again, which computer are you going to use? The one that you know works all the time, or the one that might mess up? And that's the way the coaches look at it when they look at Harden and Lin. 4-star KT, you're right. Harden can't always play ISO ball. That doesn't work. We've seen many examples where it doesn't work. Night Surfer 1. The more he quotes, Third Rail said it's not, he didn't say Jeremy can't be a star. apparently. He just said that Houston would like to get another star, and that's fine. Miami has 3 stars. So it's not that Jeremy can't be a star. It's more like, hey, let's get as many stars as we can get. Why not? That's only going to make things easier for Jeremy. Kwok Y live from Hong Kong. Look, I like Morey a lot. I do. I think Daryl Morey is a good GM. Just give it time to work out. Daryl Morey was smart enough to get Harden, and he was smart enough to get Jeremy, or work it out to get Jeremy if the owner wanted him to get him. That's fine. Honestly, I trust Daryl Morey more than I trust Kevin McHale. So that's just my own personal feeling. Misproof that God exists. It is great to watch Jeremy's passing right now. It has been truly awesome. That's really cool that you got to go to the Nets game. That is sweet. Yeah, Harden can be a bit of a turnover machine at times, and he definitely needs to watch that. Third rail, yeah, Harden and Parsons did have a bunch of turnovers in the Milwaukee game. Look, if McHale doesn't point that out, then we'll point it out. We'll point it out. As you said, Lin is too classy. He's not going to diss other people on the team or be negative about them. That's why Jeremy's Jeremy. That's why we like him. That's one of the reasons why we like him. You'll see other guys on other teams, they'll just call people out on their own team, which is stupid. I don't, but Jeremy's not like that, and we like that. See, Double Wubba. As I said, Harden was mad because Jeremy didn't get a foul call. That's what he was mad about. He was not mad at Jeremy. Third rail, Justin Fuller is right. Brandon Jennings is a point guard and Monte Ellis is a shooting guard. So ESPN's wrong with whatever they said. Now, Justin also said Monte can play point guard. He has played point guard in the past, but with Milwaukee, he's a shooting guard. So if ESPN is saying he's a point guard, they're wrong. And that's what I pointed out in the game because we were talking about Jeremy versus Brandon Jennings. Grizzlies, yeah, Monte was very hot in the Milwaukee versus Houston game. As I said in the Game 60 video, Houston's just letting teams do too much on offense, and that means they need to focus more on defense, does Houston. Dyson, Stephen Curry had a huge game against the Knicks. There's no question about that. I mean, that's 54 points is the most anybody scored the entire season in the NBA. Stephen is a phenomenal shooter. He's a great shooter. His dad played in the NBA. He's second generation NBA. His dad's name was Del Curry, and Del Curry was a phenomenal three-point shooter. Stephen, and I watched him play. I remember watching him play clearly. Stephen's a better player than his dad was. And the reason why Stephen is better than Del Curry is because he can shoot off the dribble, whereas Del Curry was a catch-and-shoot type of guy. I was laughing at the Quack's joke that Curry would get ruined by Morey and McHale. Look, like I said, Stephen Curry is a different circumstance than JLin because he's second generation. Klay Thompson on that team is also second generation. His dad was Michael Thompson, played for the Lakers and some other teams. Those guys have different expectations of them. They're supposed to be good. That's one of the reasons why Jeremy's story is so great. He came out of nowhere. He's not second generation NBA. He's not anything. He's the guy from Harvard that nobody wanted. And that's why it's so great that he's dominating, or when he has big games like he had tonight against Dallas. Samat Gibson, what you said about defense is absolutely right. Houston's defense hasn't been good enough lately. When you take that lacking defense combined with the weak chemistry because of the new guys, that's why Houston's been struggling. That's why they've been struggling. But they found something good tonight, and hopefully that will continue going forward. Skeletor 312, you're absolutely right about the Harden and Lin talk. That's right. He was mad, James Harden was, because Jeremy didn't get a foul call even though he was bleeding from his mouth. As far as the Lakers ref conspiracy, look, I talked about that before. Who knows? I don't know. I know there's a lot of people that feel like that, though. I will say that. There are a lot of people who feel that way. So you're not alone in that. Third rail, yeah, you're right. Lin did miss the shot on the ASIC dunk. It wasn't an alley-oop, and you're right. Omer still doesn't catch the ball that great. Min-Hee Kao from Canada, I love your attitude. It's great. You got to stay positive even when Houston loses. That's what I try to do also, except for the games when I want to punch a hole through my TV or throw the TV off the balcony. Other than that, I'm usually pretty positive. Third rail, I don't think Jeremy bleeds any more easily than anybody else does in the NBA. The one thing I'm not sure about with Jeremy, though, I don't know if Jeremy plays with a mouth guard in. A lot of players do. And sometimes if you don't play with one in, you can get cut easier in the mouth. I just don't know. I haven't. Maybe he does. But look, if you're as aggressive as Jeremy is driving, you're going to get hit. That's just the way it goes. I'll tell you who's been taking some beating recently is Patrick Beverley. Did you see that foul Dirk had on him after Patrick Beverley stole the ball from him? Basically hip-checked him into the first row. That reminded me of the foul that Patrick Beverley got in the Golden State game where, Mark Jackson didn't want them to set the record, and they had that crazy foul on Beverley because he was going to shoot a three. That guy's been taking a beating. Kwok Y Line, I agree. Jeremy does gamble a lot on defense, but he's usually right. He's usually right. And you're correct. Jeremy does try hard on defense, and he does try a lot harder than James Harden, Chandler Parsons, and Demo often do. I definitely agree with that. William Thomas Hill in Japan, the reason why the trades happen now, and I explained this in the last video, is because right after the All-Star break is when the trade deadline is in the NBA. And that's when trades get done. You almost never see trades early in the year. Most of the trades will get done around the trading deadline. It's like when you have to write a paper. You don't do it until you have to do it. And then you do it, and that's what happens with trades. I know Mikhail hasn't been really thrilled with some of the trades, and I said something to that effect, like, hey, look, Daryl Morey, you're going to have to ask Daryl Morey about the trade and stuff because, Mikhail knows he's losing team chemistry, and Mikhail wants to make the playoffs. So he's not really thrilled that new guys are coming in now, too. And that's just the way it goes. That's what it is. Ip Diana from Hong Kong, you're right. Jeremy is improving a lot in all aspects of the game. There is no doubt in my mind about that. Jeremy has been looking to shoot less recently, which I think is fine, although he shot a lot tonight. He shot 14 times a night, which is the most on the team. But in general, Jeremy's been looking to shoot less, and that's okay. He's playing more of the traditional point guard role, which is to pass the ball and set other people up. That's what Kevin McHale kind of wants him to do, and I think that's good for the team right now. But I said this in another video recently. Jeremy's natural tendency is as a scorer, which means that'll never go away. So if you kind of pull him back a little bit from scoring, that's okay because you're teaching him to pass more. But he's always going to have a scoring ability because that's his mindset as a player, and that'll never change. And that's good because you get games like tonight. But kind of harnessing that and pulling it back a little bit to get him to pass more and learn point guard skills, that's also good. I've mentioned it a number of times. The one thing I want Jeremy to keep working on right now is shooting around the basket. Floaters, runners, fakes, and all of that. And as I pointed out, he's doing that, and he had some nice moves tonight. Iron Dick, thanks for the nice words. I'm glad you enjoyed my analysis. I appreciate that. Third rail, C&M will be doing staff hiring starting next week, and you're first on the list because you said, I couldn't make the video on it. Meichu Chen from Taiwan, thanks a lot for the nice words. I love doing the videos, And I'm also glad that you enjoy my sound effects. That's good because I like doing them. They're sweet. Middle path 11. I like to stay with players when they're hot, personally. If I'm coaching, that's what I would do. But I understand, Mikhail, some coaches have a set substitution pattern. When it comes to time of the game, they're going to take the guy out. And believe me, coaches get criticized for that all the time. Hey, why did you take him out? So it's not just Mikhail. That happens to coaches all around the league. And, Mikhail's a young coach. Mikhail's coached, about 4 years? He's not the most experienced coach in the world. I mean, he knows everything as a player, but not as a coach. So hopefully it'll get better. Okay, moving on to the Game 60 video comments. I just say again, I know a lot of people weren't happy with me, what I said about the game, that Mikhail made the right choice of staying with Patrick Beverley for all of the fourth quarter. Again, part of the role that I play as the commentator and the analyst is I am the one that's going to take the shots, right? So if I give an assessment, people are going to criticize me if they don't like what I say. And that's okay. I understand that. So if Jeremy doesn't play well, or if the coaches look like they're dissing Jeremy, and I come in and support the coaches, I'm going to get dissed, which I did in the comments, and I understand that. That's part of my role, right? And that's okay. That's what I signed up for. But as I've said before, I'm always going to tell it like I see it. No one is a bigger Jeremy Lin fan than I am. But I have to tell it straight. And as I said, sometimes I'm thinking ahead. I knew Jeremy was going to be ticked off because of the Orlando game that he didn't play. And he was. And that's why he played great tonight. And that's good. Again, Jeremy's not weak. He's mentally strong. I tell you, who else was mentally strong? Was Yao. Yao was very mentally strong. So is Jeremy. So remember that. These guys aren't weak. They're going to be there. They're coming back. Okay, 4-star KT from the UK. I do not think that Kevin McHale wants Jeremy to fail. The New York Daily News quote, 29 points, 9 turnovers, that's a joke. Don't worry about that. That was a New York writer trying to make Jeremy look bad and cause a problem. Don't worry about it. I have heard that both Jeremy's ankle and James Harden's knee are bothering him right now. And look, that happens a lot. At this point in the year, many guys are playing with injuries. So I wouldn't say that that's totally false. He probably is. Look, Jeremy doesn't hardly ever talks about injuries. So if people are actually saying his ankle is bad, it's probably pretty bad. I mean, because usually he won't say anything. James Harden gets more rope from the coaches because he's the star of the team. As I mentioned before, he is a more proven quantity. Now, Jeremy's earning more rope and he's earning more respect, but it's going to take time. He's not at James Harden's level. He hasn't proven what James Harden has proven in the NBA. And that's okay. He can get there. And nobody forgets Linsanity 1.0, or they shouldn't, or they're stupid. But that was a short run. Harden's done this for several years. I mean, Harden was, I think he was a 6th man of the year, and he was feared by opponents of Oklahoma City. And he is a more complete basketball player than Jeremy is right now. That doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, but it is the case right now. As I said, Harden is a top 10 player in the NBA right now. Jeremy's not at that level yet. And so the coaches are going to go with that guy. That's the way it goes. But that can change. And that can change. APC Gam, Aaron Brooks is a good backup and he's an asset. And what I mean by an asset is Daryl Morey the general manager wants as many pieces to be able to do possible trades as he can get. So you get Aaron Brooks gets waived, and if you're Daryl Morey, like, I'm going to pick this guy up. This guy might help out in a trade in the future. Look, Aaron Brooks can play. And I know Houston fans, Aaron Brooks was on the Rockets, and Aaron Brooks can play. And right now, if you have a game, and Aaron Brooks is experienced, he's more experienced than Beverly and Jeremy in the NBA. If you have a game and Jeremy doesn't have it, and neither does Patrick Beverly, bring in Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks can shoot, and Aaron Brooks is quick. So, if you have Aaron Brooks as your third guard, you're in pretty good shape. So, I think it's a great pickup. I'll give you an example. The Miami Heat just signed Juwan Howard for their 15th roster spot, right? Guess what? They wanted somebody better than Juwan Howard, but they couldn't find anybody. If they could have gotten somebody better, they would have gotten him. Houston got Aaron Brooks. That's really good. Really good. So I think it's great. I know people are scared, it's going to take time, and Jeremy, no. Aaron Brooks is a good basketball player, and he's going to help Houston, or he could, and so I'm glad they got him. Sean Joe, thanks for the nice words on my analysis. Yeah, I'm worried about Houston's defense in the playoffs, but right now I'm not even worried about that. Right now, again, we just got to make the playoffs. And I agree with you, Aaron Brooks will fit well in the Houston offense. I absolutely agree with that because he's a pretty good shooter, if I remember correctly. Third rail, Aaron Brooks should help Houston a lot, and he will play probably pretty well off of James Harden. If he's a catch-and-shoot guy, that's great. Great. He's quick. I like Aaron Brooks. I don't know. I understand why Aaron Brooks was getting dissed and cut from teams. He's pretty good, or he was. So I don't know what happened with him, but I'm glad Houston got him back. You made a good point about Harden coming off the bench for the first few years of his career. Yeah, that's right. It could help Jeremy. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I don't think the owner wants it. And Jeremy doesn't need to do it. He's good enough to start. He's still going to have ups and downs, but you don't sit JLin for Patrick Beverly. And I like Patrick Beverly. I'm not dissing Patrick at all. I like him. But in terms of an investment and talent level, you're not going to sit JLin for Patrick Beverly, and you're not going to sit him for Aaron Brooks. I think Aaron Brooks is getting a little bit older, so that's not going to happen because Aaron Brooks isn't the future. Jeremy is. So if he can play okay, play him, and that's what's happening right now. Look, if you had Kyrie Irving on your team or Chris Paul, yeah, you bring Jeremy off the bench, but that's not the case here. So I'm cool with Jeremy starting. And again, I believe that is what Houston as an organization wants to do with him. K and Cat, thanks for the nice words. You made a great point about Patrick Beverly not being scouted. This is a really good point. I'm glad you brought this up. Sometimes a player who's a secondary player, a bench player, they won't be on the scouting report, and that's when they can do really well. That's what happened to Jeremy last year. Now, what's the scouting report? Scouting report, every team has advanced scouts, meaning they have scouts that go to, if they're playing a team in 5 days, they will have scouts that attend that team's game. And then they'll write notes about the main players. Okay, this guy doesn't like to dribble to his right. So make him dribble to his right. This guy can't shoot beyond 16 feet. So make sure you make him shoot from. They make a scouting report. And they're scouts, so it's their report, scouting report. And then they give it to the team. the scouting report doesn't cover everybody. It covers the main guys. And so for Jeremy last year in Linsanity 1.0, he wasn't on the scouting report for a while. And that's why he was tearing teams up, because they didn't know what to do with him. Then it got harder once he got on the scouting report, like after the Miami game and stuff. Okay, that's what you do against him. Play him like this. Patrick Beverley probably isn't on the scouting report right now when you're going to play Houston. And so teams aren't ready for him. They don't know how to defend him. But I can guarantee you Jeremy's on the scouting report. And so teams are, yep, we got to do this, we got to do this, double team him, make him dribble left, da-da-da-da-da-da. So that was a great point by K&Cat. Sometimes the backups will do better for a while because they're not on the scouting report. And if you remember, a lot of the haters, a lot of the doubters, one of the things that they said, Jeremy's not going to do well this year because now he's on the scouting report. And teams had tape on him and they studied him. Well, I guess you were wrong. What's the next hurdle Jeremy's going to jump over? And that's the saying. That's the reason why Jeremy's earning respect. He isn't going anywhere. He's right here. Even though a lot of people thought he was just going to fade away and flash in the pan. Nope. So I'm glad K&Cat pointed that out because that's probably true for Patrick Beverley. Sean Joe Garcia is not a great defender. Francisco Garcia, at least not to my knowledge. He's an okay defender, but I don't think he's known for his defense. He is primarily known for his shooting, which is what you saw in tonight's game. I do think Kevin McHale should change his rotations based upon what's happening in the game, but he's just not at that level yet. Some coaches are really good at making adjustments in between games. Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat is like that. Other coaches are really good, what they call in-game coaches. They can make adjustments during the game. Those are usually coaches that have more experience, and honestly, some of them are just better at it. Eric Spoelstra is not a great in-game coach, even though he's a championship coach. Kevin McHale, he just doesn't have that much experience yet. And everything I've heard about him is that he's not a big-time X's and O's coaches, meaning that means that X's and O's, if you see the little boards that teams will have, and they'll like write a little play like during timeouts and stuff on a little board, X's and O's is how you represent each team. So our team's O and their team's X's. So X's and O's means, when they talk about a coach, means really good at making up plays and diagrams and creating plays. McHale's not good at that, from what I've heard anyway. He's just more of a guy that played in the league. He understands the game, and he got a shot as a coach. But he's got a lot to learn, and he might never be good at an in-game coach, so he might always stick to his rotations, right? Okay, 3 minutes left, bring Jeremy out. Usually the better coaches are more flexible. It's not always true, but it's usually true. And honestly, Kevin McHale isn't experienced enough to really expect him to be good at that. Now, some guys are good quick, like Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson came in the NBA and, he was good very quickly. Although he had a lot of experience on level below the NBA, like the CBA and stuff. I think Kevin McHale doesn't have that experience. So, he's got a lot to learn. Third rail, everybody on the team was not playing better defense than Lin. I doubt it they were. But it's not. The point guard position's the critical position. I say this all the time with Jeremy on offense, and that's why coaches will be harder on the point guard, because if you stop the point guard, you stop everybody. It's like in chess. If you take out the king, you win. If you take out the point guard, everything falls apart. That's why it's so important for Jeremy to play good offense and run the team properly. That's why you have to be harder on Jeremy than you do on Demo, because Demo is just, you can ignore Demo on offense. You can't ignore the guy with the ball. You have to bring up the ball and you have to make good decisions. Same thing on defense. If you disrupt the point guard, then the whole defense, the whole offense falls apart of your opponent. And that's exactly what Patrick Beverley did in the Orlando game. He was all over their point guard. He was getting steals. He was tipping ball pressure. Look, that's what Patrick Beverley's good at. And I thank goodness that we have him, because he's good at that. Also, thanks for the nice words about my cold. Yeah, I've been sick for a while, but whatever. I'm still here. Grizzlies, you're right. Beverley was balling tonight. There's no doubt about that against Orlando. He absolutely was. Whitman Lamb, I never said Jeremy was a bad defender. And if you've listened to these videos for any amount of time, I've said Jeremy's an excellent defender. Let me put this into perspective, okay? If I say that Ray Allen is a better three-point shooter than Stephen Curry, that doesn't mean I'm dissing Stephen Curry or I'm saying Stephen Curry is a bad three-point shooter. You understand? They're both good three-point shooters. Ray's just better. At this point, right now, Patrick Beverley is a better on-ball defender. He is better against the man with the ball in his hands, particularly pressuring that man. Pressuring just means you're making him think about his dribble. You see Beverley's waving his hands and he's down in a crouch. He's better at that than Jeremy. Why is he better at that? One, he's used to doing it. As I said, it's a learned skill. And Beverley's clearly spent a lot of time playing like that. Second, he's smaller than Jeremy. That's really important. He's thinner than Jeremy, and I think it's a little shorter. Thin guys move easier than guys that are thicker. Jeremy is thick in the legs. It's a little bit harder for him to move laterally than it is for a thin guy like Patrick Beverley. Again, I'm not dissing Jeremy. Jeremy plays phenomenal defense, and I've said that. As I said, you guys are hearing stuff that I'm not saying, and I understand that because everybody was mad about the game, and you guys thought I was dissing him, with the clapping, and I'm another Clutch fan's knucklehead. No, it's about perspective. It's about relative strengths. Beverley is a better defender than Jeremy on the ball. That doesn't mean Jeremy's bad. It just means Patrick Beverley's a little bit better. But that's going to help Jeremy get better. And that's why I'm happy. It'll push Jeremy to do better, and it'll push him to play better overall, which is exactly what happened tonight. Good. Great. You're right. When Jeremy fouls out of the game, the team has problems. No doubt about that. And hopefully we won't see that again this year because we saw it. Look, as I said, I love JLin. I mean, if you don't get that from these videos, you're probably not going to get much of anything out of these. Peeps are taking my comments in the wrong way. Look, and I agree, James Harden is a pretty weak defender. He is. I mean, I agree with that. But he's the best offensive player on the team. So when the coaches decide who they're going to take out and who they're going to leave in, you got to factor in everything. It's like a cost-benefit analysis, pluses and minuses. If you take James Harden out of the game, your offense might go right down the tubes in terms of scoring. So you have to think about that. And again, this thing, Harden's more proven than Lin. Like I said, give it a couple years. And then, Lin might get the same, they might feel the same way about Lin that they do about Harden. So it's just, that's where we're at right now. Excuse me. Alternative Grunge 91. Houston is not going to let Jeremy Lin go. I've said this before. McNugget will be gone before Jeremy's gone. I am 100% sure of that. I know that people are frustrated, and there's a sense that the Rockets don't trust Lin, and he's the starter, but it all comes down to winning the game. Look, if Houston had no chance of making the playoffs, they'd play Lin 40 minutes a night because they don't care about winning right now. If Houston was on pace to win 60 games, they could play Jeremy 40 minutes a night. But they're not. They're right on the edge of making the playoffs or not making it, which means every game is critical. So if you have a game that you need to win, then you're going to do whatever the heck you think you can do to win that game. And that's what Kevin McHale did. And that's why I clapped. Because they won. If they win, Jeremy looks good. That's really important for people to understand. If they don't win, Jeremy looks bad, even if he has a huge game. But if they do win, everything's good, and Jeremy looks good. That's important for people to understand. It's important for people to understand. 4-star KT from the UK. Look, go a little bit easier on McHale. Again, he's a relatively new coach. He's playing with new guys, new lineups. He still has to figure it out. 1997 camper, I agree. I would love to see Houston grab the number 7 spot while Utah's schedule is going to get tougher, which it is. And look, they're tied with Utah tonight, so let's just keep moving forward. Super 5 from Canada. Beverly does play better defense than Jeremy, as I point out, but Jeremy's a good defender. He is a good defender. It's not like either or. They're both good defenders. Beverly's just a little bit better on the ball than Jeremy is. Although Jeremy's a better team defender than Patrick Beverly is, meaning he's better at helping out and stuff. You're right. Patrick Beverly was scoring well, and that is part of the reason why McHale went with him. Jeremy struggled a little bit with a shot in the third quarter, and Patrick Beverly was hitting shots. But I'm positive that part of the reason why I went with him was because of defense. Mr. Hunvaraya, Jeremy's not going anywhere. He's not replaceable. Again, it was only one game. Houston had to win it, and they won it. And Jeremy's good, and he's going to be cool, and that's why I was okay with the move, with McHale going with Beverly, because you got to win that game, and they won, and that's why I was happy. You're right, Jeremy does overhelp on defense at times, but he's still a good defender. He's still a good defender. And again, thanks for nice words about me and being sick, but look, I'm still here. I'm still tough. I'm hanging tough, just like Jeremy with the cut lip. Keep going. Third rail, you're right. Harden is not a great defender. He does stay in the game because of his offense. That's the reason why James Harden will stay in longer than Jeremy will, because they need him to score. Or that's the way the coaches feel, and that's why he stays in the game, and he'll stay in longer than Jeremy. Night Surfer 1, Patrick Beverly was better than Jeremy in the second half of the Orlando game. But again, Jeremy's going to be fine, just like he was tonight. In fact, again, when he doesn't do well, or he gets slighted, that's when he comes back stronger, and that's what happened tonight. Third rail, you're right. Jeremy is bringing thousands and thousands of hits to Clutch fans. Just Jeremy. He's a global icon. And that phenomenon of all the people he's brought into Clutch fans and all the hits, that just helps to point it out. Look, that's why the haters hate him, because he's so popular, and they don't like that. Well, too bad. I might not like that LeBron James. Doesn't mean he's not popular. I mean, it's actually, I do like LeBron, but that's one of the reasons why haters hate him, because he's so popular. Too bad. That's the way it goes. I miss Jeremy being in New York as well. Man, that was great, man. I mean, that was a real phenomenon, but I'm glad he's in Houston for a lot of reasons. And one, he can work on his game and not have the constant scrutiny. And honestly, the organization wants him here, and they didn't want him in New York. I don't care what anybody says. You didn't want him. If you wanted him, you would have paid for him, and you didn't. So, well, have fun. Have fun with Raymond Felton. Night Surfer 1, management is not trying to jump J-Lin. He's not going anywhere. Like I said, hang in there. Hang in there. Be tough. You guys got to toughen up like Jeremy's tough. Jeremy showed you how to respond to the tough times tonight. Don't get all shook up by one game. You can't get shook up by one game. It's just one game. Misproof that God exists. Yeah, the Heat's Harlem Shake video is awesome. It's just phenomenal. I've watched it, probably 10 times. It's great. You're right, Jeremy did roll in the first half of the Orlando game. That was phenomenal. I was going to say tremendous or phenomenal, so I said phenomenous. Chandler Bieber is in the house. Baby, baby, baby. Oh, Chandler looked great tonight. So did his hair. And I didn't realize how popular Chandler was with female fans until I was reading Clutch fans a lot. Now I understand it. And I like Chandler, man. Chandler's cool. And again, he and J-Lin get along great. So awesome. Huge win versus Orlando. There was no doubt about it. And as you mentioned, Jeremy's up and under pivot move was tremendous, no doubt. Night Surfer, you said that Asians are open-minded. No question about it. I agree with that 100%. Misproof that God exists. Yeah, thanks for the concern, the info on how I can get less congested. Yeah, I was super congested in that video. There's no doubt. Look, I have bad allergies, and I live in an area that's really bad for allergies. It's one of the worst in the whole USA. But I just didn't have any decongestant that night, but I do tonight, so I'm doing a lot better. But thanks. I appreciate your recommendations. OMG, by golly, wow. Thomas Robinson is going to improve the way that you saw him do tonight. Again, though, he can't shoot three-pointers the way that Tupat or Marcus Morris can. So that is a downside. Dyson from Australia. Jeremy was great in the first half of the Orlando game, and he was less so in the third quarter. Patrick Beverly was great in the second half. You asked me, how do I know Jeremy's improving? I know Jeremy is working and improving because I can see it in every single area of his game. His dribbling is better. His shooting is better. His three-point shooting is better. His turnovers are down. His assists are up. He's running the team better. Believe me, he's getting better, and he will stand out when the time comes, like he did today. Trust me, it takes time. It takes time. Jeremy is doing about as well as I could imagine him being able to do. He's doing great. Yeah, I agree. I think that it was smart for Coach McHale to go with Patrick Beverly in the fourth quarter of the Orlando game because of the defense. And again, it worked. And that's all I care about. William Thomas Hill in Japan. You're right. Jeremy is Mr. Fourth Quarter. But Kevin McHale stayed with the hot hand and went with the defense in the Orlando game. By the way, I love your avatar. I love that little picture of the bear like off the ground running down the street. That is awesome. XOXO triple zero. I don't think it makes McPhail happy if the team doesn't win. They got to win. I mean, McPhail's trying to win. He's a coach. As a coach, the only thing anybody cares about is if you win or lose. He's trying to win. That's what he was trying to do in the Orlando game, and it worked. So, good for him. He has to win games for his job. If he doesn't win games, he's going bye-bye. Kwok Wai from Hong Kong. They did spend a lot of money on James Harden. Houston did, but they also spent a lot on Jeremy. So remember, Les Alexander, he's not, believe me, the one person in the organization I am absolutely certain doesn't want Jeremy to look bad is Les Alexander. He's the guy that wanted Jeremy here. So, trust me. Jeremy's going to be fine when he's in Houston. Why? Because Les Alexander's going to make sure he's fine. So, he makes the final decisions, and that's it. Dyson, yeah, thanks. I know you're saying, I sound sick. Yeah, I did sound pretty sick. Like, I've had a sinus infection that won't go away for 2.5 months, but yeah, it'll go away eventually. XOXO000. Look, I think it's great that you gave the shout out to Jeremy, pumped him up. Hey, man, don't get down yourself, whatever. Again, though, I never said Jeremy doesn't play good defense. I'm always pointing out Jeremy plays good defense. All I said was that Patrick Beverley plays better defense on the ball than Jeremy does right now. That could change. Maybe it's different next year. I don't care. I'm glad Patrick Beverley plays great defense because he's going to help Houston win and help make Jeremy look good. But I still love it that you pumped up Jeremy. That's great. Orsme, yeah, Jeremy might have lost some rhythm from sitting a long time in the Orlando game. That's true. That does happen. I do think the Rockets respect Jeremy. As I said, I know Les Alexander does. I can assure you of that, who is the owner. Royce Reps from the UK. I have done a small amount of coaching at a high school level, but nothing particularly serious. But I have done some, and I've been asked to do some. I don't think coaching is for me personally, although I enjoy it. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I enjoy doing what I'm doing right now. I like doing media stuff, and I like analyzing games and writing. I think that's more of my angle, so to speak. I have been approached by a number of people, individuals, in terms of working with them on their game. And yeah, look, I love it. I don't play as much now. Like, I have kind of some physical issues. I don't get to play as much at this time, but I love playing. I mean, again, I've spent my entire life around the game, and it's just fun. It's fun to share these videos with people because, it's like someone who's a master violin player telling me about the violin. I mean, I don't know about the violin, but they can tell me about it. And that's the way I look at this, because I've spent a lot of time around hoops. I can help other people understand it. Yeah, look, thanks a lot for the nice words. And I think it's awesome that you're doing these types of reports for Royce White when he's with the Rio Grande Vipers, which is the developmental league, D-League team of the Houston Rockets. That's awesome, man. You go. As you said, these videos do take a long time to make, as you know. Now, you find that out quick once you start doing it. It's like I said, a lot of people don't understand that are watching or listening, but when you do it, you realize how long it takes. You will get better, and the videos will get shorter to make the more you do it. So hang in there. I can assure you of that. You will learn more about how to do it better and quicker as you keep doing it. I know I've learned a lot more. Look, I've been doing videos for YouTube probably like 6 years now, 2006 or 2007. I've been making videos for a long time, and I've been making these videos for Jeremy for whatever it is now, a year and a half or something. So anytime you do anything consistently, you'll get better at it, and you'll learn shortcuts and whatever. So definitely it'll get easier for you, and that's good, and that's it's a natural process. I used to heavily edit these videos, but it takes too long to do that. If you're making a long video like these videos are that I make, you just can't do it. It just makes it just crazy. Now, the only things I edit are the start and the end, and that's just so it fits into the format that I do. So, I mean, you get my breathing, you get my I used to cut all of that out, and it took forever. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't do it. What happens is, the more you do this, the more you do make the videos. It's almost like broadcasting radio. You just got to roll with it. You're going to make mistakes and stuff, but the more you do it, the easier it'll get. What I do a lot is I make little bullet point notes. I used to write out scripts. Last year, if you listen to some of the early Lin videos, Linsanity, I would write an entire script out. It just takes too long. Make notes and just flow. And the more you do it, it's almost like, learning how to rap or something. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And what I've also found, and I know people, long-time viewers will tell you this, is when I did the scripts, people say, "You sound like a robot." And people would actually think it was like, the MS Sam or those text-to-voice things. So the mistakes and the ums, they actually make you sound more human. And I've actually found that that works out pretty well. So just don't overanalyze yourself in terms of as you're getting started. Just do it. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, etc. And you'll have fun with it more. I was never trained in formal broadcasting or speech. No, I was not trained. I do have some experience with it in doing media. As I said before, I've done some radio and that, but not a lot. I haven't done a lot of it. John has done more than I have done. He's done actually a fairly extensive amount of media, TV and radio. But you don't need formal training. You just need to learn what it is that people who are formally trained know. And you can do that from researching it and just from doing it. The best way to learn how to do something is to do it. And anybody that listens to these videos for any amount of time will tell you I'm a lot better now than I used to be. And that's just from doing it. So, look, I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, I'm here. And like I said, look, we like everybody. When Enter the Arena USA left comments, I got to write those guys back. Look, those guys are a couple guys, or three guys. I think they are. They do a lot of what we do. They comment on sports and stuff. That's great. Problem with YouTube a lot of times, everybody's competitive with everybody else, and they don't want to tell anybody anything. We're not like that. Now, I want people to do well. I want people, if you want to make videos, make them. So that's the way it should be. Skeletor 312. Man, look, I know, and you call me a fool, but I'm not the enemy. I'm not the enemy. Remember, I like Jeremy. But you're right. If the offense clicks, the defense is not as important. You're right. Like tonight against Dallas. That's what happened. But when the offense isn't clicking, that's when defense is key. And that's why I think that Patrick Beverley was so important, in the Orlando game. Just win the game. I was clapping at the beginning of the Orlando video because Houston won. And I was concerned that they weren't going to win. So they won. Great. Again, I'm the biggest fan of Jeremy that you will find anywhere. I don't care who it is. People know that. I mean, I'm sure they know that. I'm honest about him, but I'm a huge fan. Cal Mike, dude, I agree Jeremy is a great team defender. I do think, though, that Omer Ashik is the best team defender on the team, and that's because he learned it really well in Chicago. Tom Thibodeau, the coach there, is all about defense. It's what I said about Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley clearly has played in circumstances where they stressed defense. Jeremy can get to that, but he's not that right now. The same way that when he came into this year, he wasn't a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. Why? Because that's not what he does. But he can start to do it, and look how much he's improved his three-point shooting. Well, he can do the same on defense. He's already a good defender, but he can get really in-your-face, shaking the hands, pressuring the ball. That's what Patrick Beverley's good at, and that's why I think it was good he was in the game the other day. William Thomas Hill in Japan. Jeremy is a great defender, as I say it all the time. Again, Beverley is better on ball pressure, and he can stay with smaller guys better because he's smaller than Jeremy is. And in a lot of ways, Patrick Beverley has a defense-first mindset. And I mentioned I compared him to Avery Bradley of the Celtics in that way. Jeremy's not like that, but he will learn to be more like that playing with Patrick Beverley, and I love that. That's great. A lot of Jeremy's steals come from help defense, like he goes down to double team a guy and he'll strip the guy, and they come in the passing lanes. A passing lane it's an imaginary lane, imaginary set of lines where there's a space for you to pass. That's called a passing lane, like where the natural openings are in a setup. Sometimes defenders will be said to play the passing lanes. That means the defender sees that lane, they know a pass might come through there, and they're waiting for it, and then they're going to pick it off. Jeremy's very good at that. Many of his steals come from help defense, but he does get steals on the ball too. He does do that. Again, I've never said Jeremy's not a good defender. It's just situationally, Beverley's a better on-ball defender for all the reasons that I mentioned. And Jeremy played tough defense tonight. Again, he doesn't want Patrick Beverley to take his minutes. Guess what? He's going to be a better defender. Great. Kwak Demo has a huge amount to learn about defense. There's no doubt about that. William Thomas Hill. Again, McHale put Jeremy in late in the 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter in the Wizards game. I think Houston was winning that game. Jeremy was battling a cold, and I think his ankle was bugging him. And Houston lost that game. In this game, McHale made a decision to go with Beverley, and it worked. And that's why I was clapping. I just want to win. Winning makes everybody look better. Winning makes everybody look better. And again, I'm thinking long term, more so than short term for Jeremy. Yeah, I get, the games. I want to throw the TV off the balcony, but mostly I think long term. And I'm thinking, what's going to help Jeremy 2 years from now? Well, playing in a system he's not comfortable with, that's going to help him. Playing with a really good on-ball defender, another one in Patrick Beverley, that's going to help him. That makes me happy. Because again, competition is good. Competition is good. I feel like Gordon Gekko in the Wall Street movie, greed is good. No, competition makes everybody do better, and it's going to make Jeremy play better. Great, and that's where I'm coming from. Okay, Chang 42. I will tell you this right now. Houston is not likely to win a series in the playoffs. Just being honest. They're going to get a tough team and whatever. I'd be happy if they did win, but I don't expect them to win. But that's okay. The goal is make the playoffs. And then you can focus on the next thing. Houston's offense is kind of a mismatch, just kind of a whole bunch of things thrown together right now. But I think next year you'll see it a little bit more settled in. Jeremy is going to remain a starter. You saw what he did today. This is why Jeremy is who he is, as I said. He's great when he's pushed. That's why he's Mr. Fourth Quarter. When he has to be good, he's good. So, last game he wasn't happy with how it played out. Well, he's going to come out and show everybody today, and that's exactly what he did. MB Dubaha, I'm not sure who's going to play post-up offense role if Houston doesn't get Dwight Howard. As I said, Demo is absolutely the best post-up guy on the team, unless Albrecht has something I haven't seen yet. Omer will improve with time, but Houston's going to look for help. If you can get somebody in that's an established post-up presence, get them. Now, that's what I like about Morey. He just wants to improve as much as possible. Yeah, it might not be great in the short term, new guys' chemistry, but he's trying to get as good as he can get this team as quickly as possible, and I support that 100%. You made a good point about Yao. When Yao got hurt, he was dominant, and nobody could stop him on offense. I remember clearly how disappointed I was when he got hurt because at that point he had finally developed his post-up game where nobody could stop him. No one, not Shaq, not anybody. And then he got hurt. And it's very disappointing. But again, Yao was very tough-minded, just like Jeremy is. Very tough-minded. I love that about him. But, Yao's doing great now. Honestly, Yao could end up being like the Magic Johnson of China. And, Magic has dominated after basketball in his business ventures. And I think Yao's going down that same road, and that's great. I love Yao. Love him. He is great. Kwok. Tupat and Marcus Morris can shoot threes, and they did have chemistry. So you're right. In the short term, the trade might hurt the team. It's true, and that's why Kevin McHale took a little shot at Daryl Morey, as I pointed out before. But again, you gotta think long term. You want to make the playoffs this year, no doubt about it. But it's about the long term, and hopefully both things will happen. You make the playoffs, and you're in better shape for the long term, and I think that's what we're looking at right now. Surpreet Singh Ball from India. You're right. It is all about winning. It is all about winning, and that's the key. If you win, everything's good. 2000 new guy, you're right. I said Peterson, and it's not. It's Patrick Patterson. The guy I was thinking about when I said that was an old forward for the Houston Rockets named Jim Peterson, who played with Akeem way back. I'm dating myself here, late 80s. Now, like I said, this was a phenomenal game. It was great. The next game is Wednesday, March 6th here in the United States, which means early Thursday, March 7th, against the Dallas Mavericks. When you have a team, when a team plays another team twice in a row, like one time they play at home, and the next time they play on the road, they call that a home and home. Home and home series. So it's like, you're playing at your home, then you're going to play at the other guy's home. So that's what this is, this little 2-game thing. So look, Houston's shown they can beat Dallas. They did tonight. Dallas is tough, and Dallas can shoot. And so it's Houston needs to win that game, but it's not going to be easy. Hopefully Dallas, Dallas isn't going to make the playoffs now. So hopefully they'll kind of start to get into early vacation mindset. And we'll see if that happens on Wednesday. I hope it does. Okay. I'm sure this is a super long video. Oh my gosh, it's almost 2 hours. It's an hour 52 right now as I just looked. Your comments below, thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. Of course, we will have all the information, game score, game highlights, box score, information about this game, game stories. We'll also have information so you can come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group if you'd like to do that. I'm Paul at Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Again, phenomenal win, great win for everybody that watched this video the whole way through. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I had a lot of fun making this, and I'm actually not tired at all, even though it's about midnight here on the East Coast. I'm just pumped up because this was a great win, and we got Linsanity 2.0. So hope everybody's having a great day or great night wherever you are when you have a chance to watch and listen to this video. Take care. We will talk to you again soon.